Welcome to Leigh Dickey TV. Hit subscribe to follow along with the fun. Now let's get on to today's video. Mike Richards is out as executive producer of both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. I give you the details next. Alright, so Mike Richards is out as executive producer of both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Now, in light of everything that's come to the forefront when it comes to Mike Richards and the Jeopardy hosting slash like everything else sort of debacle with him at Sony and what's come out into the public forum, basically. I'm not going to get into that. I've covered various things on who I think should guest host Jeopardy. Austin Rogers, who's a former contestant. I'll link that video in the cards and description for you all. I've already covered Mayim Bialik coming in to replace Mike Richards in the interim as host. I think that's going to last about 3 weeks. I'll link that video in the cards and description for you as well. Now, I'm not going to get into why Mike Richards has been let go as the permanent host of the syndicated version of Jeopardy, and I'm not going to get into the details of why he's been let go as executive producer of both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, just because I don't want my name associated with it, and that's not what I want for the Leigh Dickey TV YouTube channel, or the Beats and Speaks podcast, Yo Nostalgia, or my other podcast, Pinfall, a pro wrestling podcast. Even though, you know, a pro wrestling podcast is not what, say, you know, Mike Richards being let go from both the hosting duties and the executive producer's role of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy has anything to do with it. I'm not going to render my opinion on that. I'm not going to give you my thoughts on, you know, what's come to light with him. I'm just trying to report on straight facts that I get from articles that I read from various sources. Now, I'm going to post the link to the article that I got most of this information from, which is from the Hollywood Reporter, and that will be down listed in the show notes and description for you all. But there are several articles, like, just all over the interwebs. Throw it in your Google machine and you're bound to find something. You're bound to land somewhere on why he was let go as host, and now why he's been let go as the executive producer of both Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. They're just everywhere. I'm just getting the bulk of this information from the Hollywood Reporter. Like, you can check out Variety, Deadline, TVinsider.com. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, CBC up here in Canada. Like, everybody's covered it because it has been such an absolute mess. So I'm not going to give you my opinions on, you know, Mike Richards as an individual. I don't know the guy and have never worked with him, but I'm just going to try and report on straight facts that I get from articles, or I'm just going to try and give you the best of my knowledge to, you know, of this situation, or like render sort of something to the effect without giving my opinions on Mike Richards as an individual, or like this entire situation as to why everything is going on with him in general. So that's what's going on, simply because I don't want my name associated with, you know, everything that's come to the forefront with him. And that's not what I want for Leigh Dickey TV, the YouTube channel, the Beats and Speaks podcast, Yo Nostalgia, or Pinfall, a pro wrestling podcast. Basically, anything I put my name on, I don't want associated with something like the comments apparently that Mike has made, or like what his reputation is like behind the scenes. I don't want that. Like, I can't speak to any of that, so I'm not going to give you my opinion on that. I just want to give you guys my thoughts, a commentary, and pretty much render a video for you all that kind of just is something that I'm proud of, and is something that I want to push out to the public and, you know, give to you guys on Leigh Dickey TV and all of my podcasts in general. So, Mike Richards is out. He is the former, now, executive producer of both Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, but he is out as the executive producer, the EP, of both Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. He was named the permanent host of the syndicated everyday version of Jeopardy, replacing the late Alex Trebek. But of course, he had to step down in light of everything that's going on. And Mayim Bialik, who was named the host of the primetime specials and the tournament episodes, is going to step in for a little while Sony figures this out. So she's going to host the syndicated version of Jeopardy for a little bit while Sony tries to figure a way out of this whole debacle and or mess. So now that he's been outed, like he's been ousted basically as the executive producer of both Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, according to this article, Suzanne Prett, who is an executive VP with both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, sent like an email or a notice to the crew saying that Mike would step down. Mike Richards would step down. He'd be stepping away, and that's it. He's no longer in charge of either Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy, and of course, he's not going to be the host. So there is that. This article also states that Michael Davies, who is the president of NBC Row, now NBC Row is a production company that Sony owns. Now, Sony also produces Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. So there you go. That's how that all ties in and sort of mixes together. So Michael Davies from NBC Row, the president of NBC Row, is coming over to help out with, it's maybe just Jeopardy or maybe Wheel of Fortune, both, who knows. But he's coming over to help out the crews in the meantime, just in terms of interim production. And I figure it's just a way for Sony to try and figure a way out of this unfortunate mess. Now, as far as I know, Mike Richards came to Sony in late 2019. He signed an overall exclusive deal. Now, there's nothing that states anything that's going to happen with that. He has a first look sort of exclusive deal with Sony Pictures Television that he signed in late 2019 before taking over the executive producing roles of both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, taking over for the retiring Harry Friedman in January of 2020 of both shows. So he's out as executive producer, but he's still got that first look sort of overall deal with Sony Pictures Television, and apparently it's a long-term contract, so maybe they're going to come to some sort of buyout agreement. I don't know. I'm just speculating, right? But he still has that overall first look deal. Yes, he's not going to be involved at all with Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, but what that means for his overall first look exclusive deal, I don't know. But that this article from the Hollywood Reporter also mentions a little bit on that, pardon me. And you know, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe they'll negotiate a buyout. Maybe he'll keep that overall deal. Maybe Sony will still want to work with him. I can't say that for sure. I don't know anybody in this situation. So this is just me, you know, talking to the camera, talking to you guys, putting this on a podcast and giving my opinions and a bit of a commentary on it. But, you know, personally, when Mike Richards had to step down as host in light of everything that's gone on, I kind of figured that his time as executive producer of both shows, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, was kind of coming to an end, because it didn't make sense to have him step down as host and then still have him as the executive producer of both Wheel and Jeopardy. My opinion, that's just what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna have him step down because of what's come to the forefront as host, why still have him on as executive producer? Now, I know that was the initial plan. Yeah, okay. He's not the host anymore, the permanent host of Jeopardy, but he's still the executive producer. That was the original plan, but of course, now he is out as both the executive producer of Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. I find it honestly really unfortunate that this is all coming to the forefront now, or, well, the fact that, like, it's coming to the forefront at all, and, like, this is something that's happening. Not that I'm personally connected to Jeopardy or Sony Pictures Television at all. I'm not. Like, I don't know anybody in this situation. I don't know anybody that works at Sony. I don't know anybody that has worked on Jeopardy or Wheel, or anyone that's, associated with Mike Richards at all. So, just kind of like, it's unfortunate that this is happening as production sort of ramps up for Jeopardy's new season. But I think a lot of the backlash started when like with Mike Richards when he was the executive producer of Jeopardy and Wheel, but more so with Jeopardy. He was tasked with finding a replacement for Alex Trebek, the late Alex Trebek. Now, nobody is going to replace Alex Trebek, but somebody has to do it because Jeopardy needs a new permanent host. Now, with my production background, and I'm thinking strictly with my production brain, when Mike Richards was initially announced as the new permanent everyday host of the syndicated version of Jeopardy, I thought that that was a good idea. Why? Because he's the executive producer. And if you have your executive producer also hosting, it makes sense because he can tell you what he knows what he wants. He knows what he wants the show to look like. That strictly from a producer's brain, and I have a production background, having been in radio, television, and all types of media most of my adult life. So to me, from a production standpoint, that makes sense. Have your executive producer also host. It also helps that Mike Richards has hosting experience. He hosted The Pyramid with the Game Show Network and Divided also with the Game Show Network. So it's not like he's a stranger to hosting a game show. He was also one of the forerunners or one of the candidates when it came to trying to find a replacement for Bob Barker when he retired from The Price is Right back in 2007 before they ultimately decided on Drew Carey. Of course, Mike Richards went to Sony from CBS and The Price is Right, which I think he had been at since like 2001, and of course took over for the retiring Harry Friedman in January of 2020 after signing sort of that exclusive first look deal in late 2019 with Sony Pictures Television. And of course, Harry Friedman was the executive producer of Wheel and Jeopardy. So, that's what's going on, and that's basically how this whole Mike Richards Sony Pictures thing kind of looks and kind of feels and has sort of taken shape. But there they are. There you have it. My thoughts on Mike Richards being ousted as the executive producer of both Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. Comment, like, share, and subscribe right here to Leigh Dickey TV, the YouTube channel, the Beats and Speaks podcast, Yo Nostalgia, and Pinfall, a pro wrestling podcast. Of course, the audio version of this episode will go up as an episode of the Beats and Speaks podcast. It will probably go up as a bonus show. I haven't decided what day, but it will probably go up sometime this week, and it will be considered a bonus show. So you will probably get 2 episodes in one day. Thank you all again for watching. Please do comment, like, share, and subscribe right here to Leigh Dickey TV on YouTube, the Beats and Speaks podcast, Yo Nostalgia, and Pinfall, a pro wrestling podcast on your favorite podcast apps and players of choice. Please do leave us 5-star ratings and reviews as well, if you would, please and thank you. But who would you like to see take over as the permanent host for the everyday syndicated version of Jeopardy? I say if Mayim Bialik's going to fill in for a little while, why not give her the just the everyday job? Maybe she just wants to devote more time to her acting career and her family. They've already got her for the tournament style episodes like the teen tournament, the college tournament, and the primetime specials. Why not just give Mayim Bialik the job? Some people have said LeVar Burton. Personally, because I've got a background and maybe I'm slightly biased, Sony, if you're looking for another Canadian, hey, right here, I'd like a shot. So reach out to yours truly, Leigh Dickey. I'd honestly love a shot. People might think I'm joking. I'm not. I honestly want a shot to host Jeopardy. I mean, that would be super cool. That's like bucket list for me. But that's just all I'm saying. You might think I'm joking, and yes, I want to be jovial, I want to be happy, but I want to give you guys my honest opinions. Sony, if you're listening and you're watching, yes, I am Leigh Dickey, and if you're looking for another Canadian, I'd love a shot at guest hosting Jeopardy, and I'd love a shot just to get behind the podium and give it my all to try and live up to the aura and the presence of an Alex Trebek. But there it is, my thoughts, a commentary, and opinions on Mike Richards being ousted as both the executive producer, new permanent everyday host, and executive producer of both Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. Thank you all again for watching. Again, I have been Leigh Dickey. This wraps up another video on Leigh Dickey TV, the YouTube channel. Please do comment, like, share, and subscribe. Please do take care, and we will talk to you later. All right, thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Leigh Dickey signing off. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to Leigh Dickey TV. New episodes are available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe to follow along with the fun.